Okay, so following on from the first video, how do we find out which of our two main identities to do with performance, the manager or the director? How do we find out which one is dominant, and how do we move from one to the other? And my experience has been that actually most people are in the default of managing and being the manager most of the time. So this is about how to then create more time in the director, okay? It's very rare that we find ourselves in the director mindset by accident, okay? So the first thing is, assume that you wake up being the manager, okay? When you wake up in the morning, assume that you are getting ready to get lots of stuff done, to be really busy, but not necessarily to look for the most efficient ways to do those things, to look at the knock-on effects of the strategies you use to do things. So the first thing is actually to acknowledge that you're probably in the manager mindset when you wake up and go into the director mindset. I recommend spend at least half an hour in the morning looking at what you're planning to do in the day, looking at what you want to accomplish, which is connected to to-do lists, but it's a bit bigger, and equally acknowledging the options you have in the paths to get things done. Do you have to do it? Can you delegate it to someone else? Do you have the resources now? Do you need them right now? And thinking your way through that process, but taking the emotional aspect out of it. So one distinction between these two mindsets is the manager is much more emotional and emotionally reactive than the director. Okay? They often will use emotions, the manager, like they'll use fear to get themselves to go somewhere or do something. Like if I don't do it now, it's going to be something really terrible is going to happen. Okay? The director, because they're normally working ahead of time, actually is much more dispassionate, much more calm, and they're in that space like the eye of the storm that I've spoken about in other videos. Okay? So there's a number of ways of being able to distinguish between the two there, like looking at the wood for the trees scenario as the manager and elevating yourself to the bigger picture, which is the director. Okay? And the key thing here is the more time you can spend in the space of director, the more you are ahead of the action, which means a lot of the things the manager has to do to firefight, to resolve issues, to negotiate compromise, actually won't need to happen because the director, from where they sit, can see those things coming way before they're actually on your radar, and they're able to, in some cases, completely eliminate the need for those things, and often be able to mitigate and dilute the impact on your movement forward. Okay? So spend more time in the director mindset, acknowledge the manager mindset, and watch your productivity and your accomplishments increase. Let me know what you get from applying what's in this video.